Hello and welcome to XVD Bibles. My name is Ethan. So today I wanted to showcase some of the most recent Bibles that I've completed. So these are Bibles that I did for waitlist customers in May of 2025. And I wanted to go ahead and show those to you here. I have some really cool different leathers represented here and some cool different text blocks as well. So I'm going to go from kind of smallest to largest here, just starting at the top. So this is a Cognac Badalassi Carlo Waxy rebind I did of a Legacy Standard Bible portable paragraph reference. And this is a gentleman that I've built somewhat of a relationship with. He actually lives in Singapore, and this will be my third Bible, or his third Bible that he's purchased from me. So that's really cool. He had a bunch of preferences and specifications that he wanted me to do for this. He said he liked my classic looking logo. He said he wanted much wider, more pronounced hubs than I normally do. And he said, obviously he gave me some, aesthetic details. Like he said he wanted rust stitching, red and gold ribbon. This is a red ribbon. It looks kind of orange in the camera, but it is red, I promise you. He wanted, Legacy Standard Bible, all spelled out, as well as the acronym LSB. He wanted perimeter stitching, and he wanted it to lay flat. So, with Badalassi Carlo Waxy, it is more of a firm leather compared to Minerva Box, the pebbled cowhide. So I made sure to use a really nice floppy Napa lambskin liner on his Bible here, and it has no issues laying flat. Even here, late in the Bible, late in the New Testament. So he said he wanted it specifically to be able to curl back on itself like that, which this Bible has no issues doing. So happy to do that for him here. So him and I talked back and forth about what he wanted on the page edges, because I made sure to let him know that the portable paragraph reference from Steadfast. I made sure to let him know that he knew that text block is going to have white page edges. We went back and forth about speckling, and he decided to go with T Rose edge dye here on the page edges. And I think that's great. This is a really nice color, and I got this color so that people can have a color to choose if they don't want something really, really bright. It's just a really nice color, and it accents well with the, with a nice brown cowhide here. So this is actually my first time seeing the LSB portable paragraph reference in person. I've obviously, being a rebinder, I look at Bibles a lot online, and I will say that this portable paragraph reference is really nice. I mean, the red letter in these Steadfast Bibles is just so good. It's really dark, kind of like really dark and readable compared to the black. And what I love about the portable paragraph reference is that all of the verse numbers are bold. So if you're trying to navigate around and jump from verse to verse, it's so easy to see these verses. These verse numbers really pop out really well. I just really like what Steadfast Bibles, what they're doing with their LSB editions. I've been really impressed with them. And this Bible has red accents. So the references here on the top of each page, the page number and the chapter numbers and the center line, those are all a deep red. So getting a Bible like this, done in a bright red speckling would be a really cool project. And I might get one at some point just to do for myself, because I actually don't have an LSB edition I had one for a little while and I got rid of it because I didn't like the formatting as much, because I'm really a two-column paragraph person, but I really like this portable paragraph reference. So, I mean, for me, this font on this really, I mean, this is a small Bible. This is, I would say like compact or smaller than personal size, but this text size is really, really big, really, really readable to me. I mean, it's bigger than like the Cambridge diadems. It's about the same size as like a Skylar PSQ, and it makes a great rebind too. The signatures on this are really small, which is what you want. So like the actual like clumps of paper, bundles of paper that are sewn together and made into the text block. On Steadfast Bibles, they're really, really small, which is what you want. Like you want small signatures. You don't want like super chunky big signatures. And the paper on this is really nice, Korean, thin. I think it's like 32 GSM Korean paper. Really like the paper on it. So I'll definitely have to pick one of these up for myself and, do speckling on it for myself. And I might do some non-commissioned projects in the LSB portable paragraph reference, because this is like such a small Bible, but you don't use that much leather. You use a little bit more than 1 square foot. I've failed to find a really nice Bible that isn't super tiny, that uses only 1 square foot of leather. I haven't been able to find it. But this is about as close as you can get. So as far as like text blocks that I might use in the future for using scrap that I've purchased for other customers, the portable paragraph reference might be, what I end up going with. So yeah, that is for my friend Marcus in Singapore. This is his LSB portable paragraph reference this is Cognac Badalassi Carlo Waxy. So the next one, the next two Bibles here are really interesting in my opinion. So both of these are premium Bibles, specifically Skylars, which I think is really amazing that people want to send me Skylars to rebind. So this one on the top here is for a gentleman named Blake, and he saw my Cambridge diadem, my NASB Cambridge diadem that I did for myself. And he wanted, he said, I want that exact aesthetic setup. I don't want anything different, do exactly that on, my PSQ. So that was really cool. I was happy to do that for him here. So, this is again, one of my favorite leathers. This is Missouri from La Perla Azzura. This is Mocha Missouri from La Perla Azzura. And this is an ESV PSQ. This is probably my number one leather at this point. I mean, look at how just crisp those hubs are. So this leather is kind of like Badalassi Carlo Waxy in appearance and in feel. It has a similar feel. It is more shiny. But what makes this leather really unique is that it's a little bit softer, which means that you can tool the leather around hubs so crisply. Like I do the same, hub tooling technique on all of my Bibles, but this leather just reacts so well with tooling that it just like creates this like really crisp. It looks like it was done by a machine. That's how, crisp it is. And I do the same hub tooling technique on all my Bibles. So it really is just the leather that just reacts so well to, that tooling process. So this is Missouri from La Perla Azzura, mocha color. So what's interesting about this leather is that it has a lot of variation to it. So this piece that I used for his Obviously I bought like a panel of it, so I can't, choose exactly what texture I get. But I generally, if I get a panel of a leather that I'm using for a customer, I will use like what I think is the best, what I think is the best section. And I'll normally put the most interesting part of the leather on the front of the Bible. So this front here is really pebbly, you can see. And you can feel this. It has like a really light, pebbly look to it. So I chose this side of the panel for the front of his Bible, and this section right here is not pebbly. That's really a smooth section right there. So I wanted that to be on the back of his Bible. So I chose the more interesting piece of that panel for, the front of his Bible. So yeah. So again, this is Missouri from La Perla, Azzura, Mocha. And then for his liner, I did a Badalassi Carlo Napa Luxe for his liner. And I really like this liner material a lot. This is a really unique leather in that you can use it for a liner or a cover leather. Leathers are the type of leather that you use for the liner. Generally, you need it to be softer and more supple than your cover leather. But this is such a good medium softness, firmness, that you can use it for either. I've used it for either very successfully. So again, this is Cognac Napa Luxe for the liner. And I really like the thinness of this, the overall thinness of this cover. I really think I nailed that. So for the cover leather, for his cover leather, I ended up going with 0.7 millimeters on both the cover leather and the liner leather, which added together, it is I think like 1.4 millimeters thick. And that's almost exactly what, Bible factories use for their thickness. And, in the rebind world, rebinders are always kind of, at least in my opinion, rebinders are always trying to like improve their trade to the point where their rebinds look like factory Bibles. And one of the keys to that is overall cover thickness. So if you have a rebind that's like really, really a rebind, if you have a Bible that's been rebound and the cover is just like really chunky looking, that really chunky, cover isn't going to look like a factory Bible. So the trick to rebinding and getting your Bibles to look close to factory is that you want to start working your way down in overall thickness, down to really anywhere between 1 millimeter thick and like between 1 millimeter thick and like 1.6 millimeter thick, even upwards of like 1.6 millimeters of total thickness is a little bit too thick in my opinion. So I've been trying to like work my way down, and to work your way down, you have to get better at skiving because a thin leather is easier to cut through and destroy your leather when you're going to skive your cover. So I've been working my way down to get that factory. To get that factory look. And I think I'm starting to get there. So because this leather is so flexible, I'm able to do like really nice corners with this. Obviously, a lot of that is my skiving. I've gotten a lot better at skiving recently. So corners on this Bible I'm really happy with. So yeah. And he did request, as you can see here, his name to be stamped on the inside. That's something that he's specially requested. I didn't upcharge him for it. I do that, I don't have a problem doing that for free for someone. So if you're on my wait list and you're interested in getting your name stamped on, the inside, cover of your Bible, I can definitely do that. But there are some restrictions or limitations for that. Because some of the leathers that I work with don't stamp very well. So what makes Badalassi Carlo Napa Lux pretty unique is that it has a good like medium to soft feel to it. But it's firm enough where you can use it on a cover leather, soft enough where you can use it on the inside, but also it stamps really well. So it stamps really well. So I was like, yeah, I can definitely stamp. I wouldn't be able to stamp like a Napa lambskin liner for someone, but I can definitely stamp, a Napa Lux liner if that's what you want. So if you want to get, internal, if you want to get like liner stamping, I will say I'm happy to do it for free, but you need to upgrade your liner so that I can do that, a lot easily. And this Bible lays flat. Napa Lux is just such a nice overall leather that, it doesn't really, it's still a little bit stiff, but it stays open pretty well, I think, considering it's such a small Bible. So really happy with this one. Blake, if you're watching this was I love doing this Bible. I was so excited to work on this and get it done. And I was really happy with, how it turned out. So, Missouri cowhide is just a leather that I'm really comfortable with at this point. That's my third or fourth Bible I've done in it. And it's just a joy to work with. It's so easy to skive, so easy to fold over. I've gotten really good at stamping it at this point. So yeah, I love Missouri, and I'm looking forward to trying, new colors in the future. So this Bible, so with Blake's, I was really, really excited to work on that Bible. This one, unfortunately, like really stressed me out for some reason. And I don't know why. So I think I know why. So there's a couple factors. So this lady, she and I worked together and conversed a little bit about what she wanted for a Bible rebind, and she sent me a Bible that was rebound by another rebinder. She didn't have any issues with his work specifically. She just said like, I didn't like the river grain goat skin that was on it. Can you just rebind it in Horween? And so I'm kind of like, I'm taking another person's work, taking off their work, and now like putting my work in their place, which kind of like adds, in my mind, like adds a little bit of pressure on me. And also like it's a 36 GSM. This is a 36 GSM Skylar Quintel text block, which is an out of production text block. So that's a little bit, that's something that causes me to, kind of take extra caution. I don't want to make sure my fingernails are short, like don't like, like bear scratch the gilding on accident, that type of thing. So she also wanted like a really, really small yap on it. She pretty much said like, your smallest yap is what I want. So I did the smallest yap that I could on this Bible, and it's about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I will say that the outside yap is just a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. But we got a nice small, 1/4 of an inch yap down here, or maybe just a smidge more. But, and two, like with Horween is kind of a bear to work with sometimes. It's a little bit, it's not a little bit, it's very much an unforgiving leather. Like if I am roughly handling some Badalassi Carlo waxy and I like put a medium deep, a scratch of medium deepness or depth, into the leather, I can almost always buff it out. And, the pull-up characteristics of that leather are just very forgiving. Horween is the exact opposite of that. So if you scratch Horween like any more than just like really, if you scratch any Horween any more than like a scratch like that, it's going to be permanent in the leather. So Horween is just a little bit stressful to work with. And on top of that, like this lady, this woman like wanted a very small yap, And adding on top of that, like this is a very, very, it's an out of production text block, so I need to be extra careful with it. So I really love how this one turned out. She was very excited to see, the spine work and all of that. She said it looked great. And I am really happy with the finished product. I don't think I would have done anything differently. And I do love, the tooling on the hubs looks great. The centering on this Bible, of all of the Bibles this month, I would say this Bible is probably like my most on point centered stamping, like centered and level. I didn't get the translation misstamped this time, thank God, on this on this quintel. So, and interestingly, this white residue in this stamping is actually wax from the leather, and I mentioned that to her because she's never had Horween before, and this can happen with Horween. This isn't just natural wax that builds up on the surface. Like, it's not mold or mildew or anything like that. It's just, you can see some like in the stamping right there. That is just wax being excreted from the leather just naturally. So I'll try to get that out before I send it to her. But it might redevelop, which is just natural. So, I can go ahead and show the corners here. Like the corners on this. I'm able to get pretty good corners with Horween. So let's see. Horween's kind of a difficult leather to skive sometimes because the surface of the leather is so slick that when you go to put the leather on your stone skiving surface, and when you brace when you put your leather on your skiving surface and you have your skiving knife, like let's pretend this is my skiving knife, it's difficult to skive because when you put your cover on your skiving surface with your leather, and when you're taking your skiving knife and like running your skiving knife down, the edge of the cover, because the leather is so slick against the like the granite skiving surface, the cover will like slip as you're like pushing, as you're skiving and like pushing against the leather. So, but interestingly, the opposite is true with Missouri. Because of Missouri's like shiny surface, Missouri just like grips the skiving surface and doesn't move, which makes skiving it just like really, really simple. So anyway, if you're debating on whether you want a Missouri or Horween rebind, there's a bunch of reasons to do that. So, but yeah, I am really happy with how this one turned out. I would say this is, as far as what I think about my work, this is probably like maybe like number 2 or number 3 as far as like my best. I really think that NIV quintel I did recently in Navy Horween, these two might be tied for my best, I would say. But I really, really love how this one turned out. Oh, I forgot to mention the colors of this. So, this is Horween Chrome Excel. The color is called Dark Espresso, and it's the darkest Horween that they offer. The darkest brown Horween that they offer is, this one, Dark Espresso. So yeah, that's what this is, Dark Espresso. They have a bunch of other browns, like they have some more medium browns, some reddish browns, that to consider, but this one is Dark Espresso. And what's interesting is right when I got this leather, it looked black. It looked black, but as you start to work with it, you really start to see the brown, specifically like the pull up, like around the cover, around like this line of the cover here, you start to see the brown, and obviously the pull up from the hubs, and all of that. So, and this is Italian's AA crack Italian softy for the liner, and this color, I think it's called Willow. It's like they're super dark brown, and it's a good combo. I would say it's a very good combo. It's like this is a dark brown liner, and this is like a dark brown cover. So it's a good combo. I would say like it's maybe the best combo. So, and I obviously used MBT stitching on all these. This is Mocha MBT stitching, which is like a brownish black. Had no issue stitching these. I will say, just as far as like banter and small talk, Horween's a really easy leather to stitch, in my opinion, because the leather has so much wax, permeating into the leather. Your thread and your needles just like sail through Horween in a good way, not in a bad way. Like stitching Horween is just like, it's like the leather is lubricated to your thread and to your needles. And stitching, the fastest leather for me to stitch is Horween because of that. And because the leather is so smooth, the surface of the leather is so smooth, it's really easy to see your punched holes. So you can, just bullseye your punched holes every time and stitch real fast. So yeah, really happy with how these turned out. Thank you for watching. This is Ethan from Expedia Bibles.